Hello guys, Peakamber here again today with episode 6 of our Terraria breakdown. We are currently doing sort of a mini-series on Terraria Otherworld, what they're showing us, and I'm basically breaking it down for you guys, making it into simpler terms and all that. So today's episode 6, which is kind of cool, we're getting there. We've come a long way now, you guys can see here. I appear to be on the Thorns. Now, what am I doing here? This is the trailer that I showed you guys, yes, but what else have I got to show? Well, today I've got something different. Now, I'm going to be reading out a bunch of information, but you're like, you're reading the same information again, it's boring. No, I'm not. This here is brand new information. Look, it shows you that tower and the mechanics and all that. So, I'm going to read this guys out for you, let you guys know what this all means. So, alright, so I don't spoil too much. Alright, 4. So, I'm going to start down the bottom where it says RPG elements, some examples not all inclusive. Alright, so this is about the story, alright. The game will include a core storyline, a purpose, if you will, to give the player goals to work towards. But like Terraria, you're not forced to go do this, now do this. Free exploration within the sandbox is still a key element of this game, and embraces the Terraria spirit of approach a challenge in your own unique way. So basically, it's like Terraria, where you are free to do this and do that. You are not forced to go and build this, build that, destroy this and all that. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. I like that. I love being a bit free, free to do what I want and all that. Now, this will also include more robust development of characters in the game. For example, the NPCs, like I said, I knew there were NPCs in the game last episode. I said that guy was an NPC. Proven right there, this are NPCs, will move beyond just being merchants only, and evolve into characters with a story and lore of all their own. So this is basically saying that the characters will evolve over time, so could be kind of interesting, I reckon. In order to build upon Terraria's very high replay value, the story will not be a fixed narrative, but rather a dynamic mix of key story elements that are used to create a fresh play through every time a player plays the game. So, like Terraria, you can go for it, you can just do it all again if you want to, basically. Of course, some repetition and / all similar key elements are necessary. In the regards to, progression is inevitable, I don't know. But we are striving to give the players a unique story experience as possible with each and every playthrough. So, pretty much like Terraria, there'll be a couple of similar things to Terraria, but it won't all actually. Instead, now, skill trees, example. This is going to get interesting. The player's actions more than before will give certain advantages that will mostly left up to chance / RNG in the original Terraria. Yep, okay. For example, players that prefer to play a certain style, melee, magic, range, etc., will see their skills with those type of weapons improve over time. So the piece, we're going to have stats like we did, but we're going to have more. I reckon. We're going to have melee and all that. That's just straight on there. However, this is not a set-in-stone choice that the player has to make. There are no selectable classes or anything, but rather something that just happens. Use a sword 9% of the time, and your skill with swords will improve. Use a silver sword all the time, and your skill with swords and that particular sword will improve. So the piece is getting a bit more advanced and giving you skills now. So if I use a sword most of the time, my sword ability will increase. So that's cool. So this way, based on your actions in the game, you can raise up a lower tier sword to be better than a sword that is much higher up the ladder, adding to the uniqueness and personality of your character and customizing your gameplay to your own unique preferences. So that's pretty cool. So I could use a copper sword, and it could be, if I use that sword a lot and I basically level up with it, I guess, it could become stronger than a silver sword. That'd be actually kind of cool. Like in Terraria, you sort of, when you play online with your mates, you sort of know people if they're pro by the gear they have. But I could have wooden armor, and it could be they didn't mention really armor, whether if you wear the same type of armor, it slightly gives you better defense, I know. But if I'm using a wooden sword, it could be stronger than the Terrorblade. That'd be so cool. I don't think they'll make it that OP, but, So this here is that tower that I told you guys, that purifies the world. Now they give you a bit more information about the strategy elements in the game, which involves this tower. So, reading on, the main objective of the game is not simply to explore, gather, build, although the player is still free to do this. We want to stress the fact that it is a more structured approach. We are absolutely trying to retain as much player freedom as possible, but rather to return the world to its pristine form. So like I've mentioned in previous videos, you've got to basically get rid of the corruption and bring the world back to its original state. So kind of like Terraria, because Terraria you got to fight off the corruption and the crimson or whatever type of world you've got. But in this one, you failed to do it. Now you got to cleanse it back. So that's pretty cool. The player achieves this goal by pushing back the corruption until it is no more. Your primary method towards achieving this goal will be finding/crafting and then activating purifying towers. These machines and ancient designs will push back anything unnatural in the world. So these things are called purifying towers. They were originally called crystal towers, but they've changed it. So they're called purifying towers now. So that means you have to get this guy, the big tower thingy, and fire it back as we saw. Not content to simply allow the player to profile the land, the vile force beyond the world's corruption fires back. The resonance from the crystals in the purifying tower attracts enemies, driving them to destroy the towers and re-corrupt the player's hard-won terrain. Ah, so that's been interesting. So this here can get destroyed. This purifying tower can get destroyed. So when you activate it, the enemies become aggressive and they attack it without you even being there. So then you can come back and that entire land could be corrupted again. Ooh, but how can you protect a whole entire world at once? The purifying towers need to be defended, and even the best players will not be able to cover and defend the entire map at once. Nor does that sound all that much fun. No, it doesn't. So Terraria Otherworld introduces another strategic element, tower defense. Through the use of customizable wall towers and the other clever defense approaches, the player can ward off the advantage of the evil force without having to be physically present. So like we said, we can build those towers and they will defend the purifying tower. So I guess so when the purifying tower gets destroyed, your towers will disappear as well. I reckon I quite like that personally. I reckon that'd be cool. So you can then you might come back and then, oh no, it's been destroyed, you gotta rebuild it, re-purify it, fire off the enemy. So you'd be like running around a lot of the time. So you wouldn't be sitting still most of the time. Like in Terraria, you can sort of sit still, wait for a day, and come back because the corruption won't spread much in one day, but if you use this one, you have to be moving around. You don't want this tower to get destroyed. Now, this one's going to be a bit more upbeat, you have to move around and all that. These war towers can have a wide range of different weapons and defenses, but are not self-powered. They need to be built in the vicinity of a purifying tower to get power from the crystal. So I guess that little bubble that we saw, that might be the area where you can build inside that will power up the towers. So that's pretty cool, I guess. And here's one of the towers here. Ability platforms time currently underway for PC and Mac. Knew that. We're heavily considering the launch to Terraria Otherworld on PS4 and Xbox One as well. If we do not pursue this, very logic intent will be to self-publish this title on consoles. We feel this move could be the next logical progression in Aggregate's development and publishing company. Beyond this, mobile, for example, we'll consider at a later date. So, coming out for PC and Mac, it might be the PS4 and Xbox One. Then maybe a year later, it might be for mobile. The launch timing. Ooh, they're going to launch that for us. Our plan, and we do not intend to compromise on this, it is to release a full/finished game at launch. As such, we do not want to give yet any arbitrary, sorry, I'm the worst pronunciation ever. You guys can read that. Dates or timing. However, our goal is to have Terraria Otherworld available as a full game in 2015. So we could expect it to come out probably November, maybe December. So that'd be kind of cool, sort of a Christmas. You can ask your parents for a Christmassy gift, you can get this game for you. Saves you spending the money, I guess. We will absolutely not be participating in the early access program. Knew that. We have a good number of ideas for post-launch content, but we have to wait and see how games receive the core game in order to help guide decision making there. It is obviously quite premature to have anything solidified here as of yet. So that there was basically the information then down here. We hope that this fresh and awesome trailer, along with expanding upon some of the elements we are only hinted at previously, will build the gaming community's interest with Terraria Otherworld will have to offer. As always, we'll continue to share tidbits of information around of all our projects when the time is right. Cheers, and make a touch report, Real Logic and Engine software. So, there was a bit of more information that we got. As we can see some pictures, so you can have a look at that. You can study them as much as you want on there. We'll have a look at, say, this one. So, it appears that it can shoot bullets. It has a form of flamethrower, and by the looks of things, the top part shoots bombs out, so that's pretty cool. Then the crystal's just normal. That's basically it. If you want to watch GDC trailer, you can just go into forms.org and type all that stuff in. I don't mention that, but in that case, it's time to end the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, man. Well guys, after that, see you in the next video.